In the previous video, we learned about imaginary numbers. That sets us to learning about the complex numbers. So, what are complex numbers? Well, once we understand the imaginary unit, it's really easy to understand complex numbers. Complex numbers are the numbers of the form a plus bi, where I is the imaginary unit. And then recall that I is equal to square root of -1, or the equivalent definition is I squared equals -1. So here the letters A and then B, they represent any real number. So some examples of complex number would be 2 plus 3i, right? So 2 and 3 are both real numbers. Or square root of 2 minus pi I. Pi is also a real number. So these are what complex numbers look like. The A part, so the part with just the number by itself, like a 2 in here or a square root of 2 in there, that's called the real part of the complex number. And then the B part, the number next to I, is called the imaginary part of the complex number. It's possible for real part or the imaginary part of a complex number to be 0. So the imaginary numbers like 2i that you have seen before is also a complex number. It's a complex number 0 plus 2i with the real part 0, and then we just don't write it. Or any real number that's also a complex number, like number 5 is a complex number 5 plus 0i. The imaginary part here is 0, and then we just don't write it. Okay, so complex number set, it encompasses all of the real numbers and then the imaginary numbers. Okay, so it's a set that's bigger than the set of real numbers, so it includes all the real numbers and then it also includes the imaginary numbers. Okay, so those are what complex numbers look like. Now we're going to talk about basic algebra with complex numbers, namely how to add, subtract, and multiply complex numbers in this lesson. Oops. Okay, so how do you add and subtract complex numbers? Now, adding and subtracting complex number is very similar to adding and subtracting any algebraic expression. So, for example, I want to add 2 plus 3i to another complex number, say -5 minus 4i. What I can do is I can treat this as a regular algebraic expression. So I'm going to open the parentheses first. So 2 plus 3i, and then there's a plus 1 here that we don't write it. So if I distribute plus 1, I'm going to end up with a -5 minus 4i from the second complex number. Now once you do that, all you gotta do is combine the like terms. So I got 2 and a -5. Let me write those next to each other, and then plus 3i and then minus 4i. Okay, so now I just gotta combine this. So 2 minus 5 is -3, and then 3i minus 4i is -i. Also, when you write the answer, final answer, you always want to write in the form a plus bi, or the standard form. Okay, so this is the standard form of the complex number, and you always want to write your final answer that looks like this, a plus bi. All right, let's do one example with subtraction. So say I want to subtract the same complex number -5 minus 4i from 2 plus 3i. So again, the first step is to get rid of the parentheses. So 2 plus 3i. Now I gotta distribute a -1 here. Okay, so if I do that, I basically end up with flipping the sign. So -1 times -5 is +5, and -1 times -4i is +4i. Once I'm done, I group the like terms together, so numbers and numbers, the real parts together, and then the imaginary parts together. So 3i plus 4i. So now 2 plus 5 is 7, and 3i plus 4i is 7i. So that's what you get once you subtract -5 minus 4i from 2 plus 3i. Okay, so it's really easy. It's just like adding and subtracting any other algebraic expressions. Okay, let's look at how multiplication works. So say I want to multiply 2 plus 3i with 5 minus 4i. Now again, the multiplication also works exactly like multiplying the algebraic expression, and except for one thing, if you see I squared, you are going to have to replace that by -1. Okay, that's the only difference here, multiplying complex number from multiplying any other algebraic expression. So we're going to start by FOILing. So I'm going to multiply 2 with a 5 and then 2 with a -4i. So 2 times 5 is a 10, and then 2 times -4i is -8i. Now I'm going to have to multiply both of these numbers on the right by 3i, so 3i times 5 and 3i times -4i. Okay, so 3i times 5 is 3 times 5 is 15, so 15i, and then 3i times -4i is -12i squared. Okay, now these two are like terms, so we got to combine those together. So I'm going to copy that 10 as it is. So 10, -8i plus 15i is plus 7i, and then if you see I squared, you are going to replace that with a -1. Remember that I squared is a -1. Okay, all right, so this is equal to 10 plus 7i, and then -12 times -1 is +12. Now 10 and 12, they are like terms, so you got to combine them. 10 plus 12 is 22 plus, and then write the 7i next to it. So that's the product. Okay, that's how you multiply two complex complex numbers. All right, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching.